This is Joan Koskela, co-author with David Riddell for the My Life Rulz material. We've been looking at, is yelling the new form of smacking? And in actual fact, that yelling could be more harmful in some ways than safe smacking, because yelling damages trust and it isn't always appropriate to the situation. So we've looked at the buttons that are underneath yelling, because anger is the secondary emotion, not the primary one. And last week I left you with the question, if I didn't grab anger, what's the other feeling that I would have to feel? So we want to look at some common buttons that are underneath anger or yelling. And the first one we're going to look at today is the humiliation button. Next time at the unheard button, or the not listened to button, and then the overwhelmed, tired button. And then we want to give you some truth coaches and fast track your progress on removing these buttons so that they can't be so easily pushed. I will give a printout at some point to each of these little video clips so that you've got something in writing to go back to, especially when it comes to the truth coaches on how to start downgrading these buttons. We want zero anger in your home, and that's what children deserve. Imagine if you had grown up in a home with zero anger and yelling. It makes you feel much safer. You can be much more compliant. You can trust. You can just get on with life and succeeding. So today, the humiliation button. I said to a friend, hey, you've got a newborn you've got a newborn child. I haven't seen him yet. He's about 6 or 7 months old. How about we meet for a coffee? And she said, oh, no, that'd be too stressful. And I said, stressful? How would it be stressful? And she said, oh, it'd just stress me out. So we dig down deeper. Why would it stress you out? Well, he might not be good. And I said, and why would that be terrible? Oh, well, he could play up. And I said, and why would that be terrible? And she said, well, he could be embarrassing. And I said, and why would that be terrible? And she said, oh, that would be humiliating. And why would that be terrible? I hate humiliation. And how do we learn to hate humiliation? This is a question. How did I become allergic to humiliation? It's quite a common button because, as all of you know, at some point in childhood we've possibly been traumatized by being laughed at, embarrassed, ridiculed or humiliated. But we carry it with us. So how do you know if you have that button? Well, I'm going to read some symptoms to you, some things that you would be doing to avoid ever feeling that particular feeling. This is the button of humiliation. So here's some of the things that you'd be doing. You'd be quick to take offense. You'd be avoiding the spotlight. You'd be proud, actually. Peace at any price. Avoidance of public situations. You'd find it difficult to admit that you're wrong. You would be chronically self-justifying why you do what you do. It would be difficult for you to take a correction without anger. You'd actually procrastinate as well. You'd be putting things off in case they bring humiliation with them. You would be second guessing what other people think of you and their reactions. You could find it hard to display emotions because that could be humiliating and embarrassing. And there would be anger at anyone who draws attention to you. And of course, children will draw attention to you. They're walking along in the middle of the mall and they say, look, Mum, and you know some of the embarrassing things that they can say with their nice big loud voice. So if you're allergic to humiliation, you're going to dump anger on the person that even threatens to embarrass you or humiliate you. So what do? Ask yourself, when do I first remember feeling overwhelmed, embarrassed or humiliated? This was probably years ago in your own childhood. And then you're going to need to make friends. Make friends with the possibility of being humiliated and embarrassed. It's going to happen, especially if you have children. You're going to have to make friends with it and accept it. Then you're going to have to Realize that your unbearable feeling actually exaggerates the possibility of humiliation. It exaggerates it. So you feel and believe you're going to be humiliated far more than you often will be. You'll also maybe need to make an appointment with a professional. And I will give my details and the details of a couple of other counsellors that I really trust and recommend for you to remove your unbearable feeling. But remember, it is your responsibility to remove your button. It is not your children's responsibility to step around your button. So talk to you next time about the unheard and misunderstood button. Have a good week.